I am the Esperanza 243. You are here to listen and or watch me read a book aloud. A book that I have written. A book I call Musketeer Power. This is part 8. This is the final chapter and hopefully the last video of Musketeer Power. Dun dun dun! Alright, so if you guys are following on my Twitter, you probably already know what the cover art is going to look like for the next book. I tried really hard to make it blend in, but it didn't. I don't know if it worked or not. I do hope that I can get a red and black hair wig, just so that I can get an actual authentic look for it. Because I honestly don't think it I honestly don't think I did very well with it, but hopefully if I get this wig, if I can find a wig with red and black hair, then I'll be able to do a better cover. If not, though, I'm probably going to stick with that cover art that I did. I actually showed you guys on my Twitter page, not the Nancy Drew one, but my main, my new Twitter, which is this name here, the name of this channel that you're watching, the Esperanza 243. And so you're welcome to go to that Twitter page and actually hit the follow button. That would be awesome. If not, that's fine. I'm sure it's not really your style. But if you are watching this and it's not your style, then why are you watching? Anywho, I actually am just going to go ahead and go right into it because the last chapter is actually 6 pages. Yeah, that's right, 6 pages because I printed it. So it's going to be a pretty long reading. I'm going to try to get the whole chapter into one video, which is going to be quite long, to be honest. So let's go ahead and do like a quick little recap of what happened in the previous video, and then I'll go on to reading it. Okay, so what happened in the last of chapter 7 is pretty much, the 4 friends and Jimmy. Oh, no. That's right. Gosh dang it, I gotta look at this before I start the recording. Trisha told Jimmy to stay. Even though at the beginning of the book, she told Jimmy that she was going to send him home. But at this point in the story, she's actually telling him to stay in this town that they'd stopped at. And which makes Jimmy so happy, because he didn't want to go back home after all that trouble, after all that they've gone through. Well, yeah, of course, Jimmy and Trisha had, a romantic parting. But after that, they found a taxi, told the driver that it was life or death, that they had to get to Galeno, which is, where the king and queen are currently in the story, I mean. Of course, the driver found this a challenge, and he got the 4 friends there in half the time than it was supposed to be. Because I think originally it was going to be like a 2.5 drive. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it was 2.5 hours. And when they get to Galeno, they decide to go to a hotel just so they can have a place where they can drop off their luggage. And what's weird is that while they're singing this weird little lullaby I created for them, which is kind of like a local lullaby that pretty much almost everyone in their town knows. And actually, wait, should it be country known? Yeah, I think it should be country known. It's a pretty good lullaby. And perhaps I'll actually get it recorded someday as like a professional song. I would love for that to happen. Actually, all of the songs that I've created for all the books that I've written, I would love to produce them. I would love to get them out. That would be really cool. Anyways, so while they're singing this lullaby, they're waiting for one of the hotel employees to let them know when the king and queen arrive. And when that happens, they pretty much like run their way there because they really don't want the villains of the book, Willie and Lexi, to win. They don't want the king and queen to die. So when they arrive, they have to convince this royal guard, and that's actually where we stopped in the previous video. So I am actually going to go ahead and read a little bit of that part and then continue with chapter 8, the last of Musketeer Power. Oh my gosh. When we stopped the train, Sophia continued, we overheard these two men arguing. They put the train in that position on purpose, so that a group of women wouldn't stop them from harming the king and queen, Amari finished. That sounds quite dramatic. Are you sure you aren't actresses? Sophia scoffed. I'm the only one with theater experience, but it's in ballet and dancing. Please believe us, we're telling the truth. Chapter 8. I'm sorry, but you'll have to go, the royal guard said. The king and queen have important business here, besides talking to dramatic women. Yeah, does that include a Scottish woman from the 1800s? Sophia whispered sarcastically as she and her friends turned around. Macy smacked her head when she heard that. Ow, she muttered. How would you know that? The royal guard called. Amari and Trisha winced. Sophia turned once more to glance at the Scottish woman. She made a thorough observation before saying anything. Well, her dress is very authentic. It's not cotton, and certainly not satin or silk. My best guess is that she used Rekavla's original material. Also, her hair is not straightened or curled by any modern technology. She wears pumps that are specifically made before the Victorian era. Whoa! How do you know all that? Trisha wondered. Amari wasn't surprised at all. She smiled. I'm a designer, Sophia replied, looking at her friends. I have to research anything and everything before making an outfit for someone. From the looks of things, Macy spoke, I'd say the king and queen are having a tough time understanding her accent. Well, I'd say so, Amari said. I remember all those plays D'autres Jacques held. The language they had back then and now is very different from the way we speak. Did you say D'autres Jacques? The four friends turned to Marina Clay's voice. Amari gasped when she recognized who it was. She squealed with excitement. Oh! Marina! What are you doing here? Amari Neven, is that you? As Amari nodded with a big grin, her eyes blinked. What brings you to City Hall? We're here to speak with the king and queen, but the royal guards won't let us through. Come on, girls. Follow me. We don't need to cause a scene, Miss Clay said, eyeing the crossed guard. It's okay, Marina. We're just going back to the hotel. Marina stared at them with wide eyes. Hotel? No, dear, the Scalino. You don't need a hotel. She smiled at the adventurers. Come on, you're staying at my place. She walked with them, following her. Thanks, Marina, Macy spoke. But we need to get our suitcases if we're going to stay at your house. Of course. Where's the hotel? I'll help out. She was true to her word. They didn't need the keychain Macy had, the cart. Miss Clay drove them to her house. When they entered, they all felt what seemed like flies fluttering around them. Heat flies. Ugh, do you realize you have flies? Sophia complained. Miss Clay chuckled in response. Leave them alone, you guys. These are guests. No need to tug on the girls. Who are you talking to? Macy asked. Amari laughed. Seriously? I thought that ghost business was an act. Miss Clay shrugged. It was at first, but then weird things started happening. I can't see or hear the ghosts, but we did agree on a system, which works most of the time. She glanced around. She felt a warm touch on her arm. Yes, thank you, Aramina. I know. What is it? Trisha asked curiously. She was telling me that she had friends like you. How do you know what they say? Sophia wondered, her brows raising. I don't, but some of the ghosts have learned over the years how to send words by touch. Miss Clay watched the 4 girls walk around, observing the house. What was Aramina saying? She grew curious as well. She loved the name, too. She and her friends became the very first female Musketeers of the world. They had a lot of adventures. What is Aramina like? Her curious eyes were big as saucers. Much like you, I should say. She used to be a dancer and loved the theatrical arts. Of course, she's also boy crazy, like, all the time. She felt something on her left ear. Miss Clay laughed at the action. Don't be discouraged, Aramina. That's why I let you stick around. Sophia and Trisha tugged on Amari's sleeve. She turned to them. The 3 exchanged glances. Amari sighed heavily and followed them to where Macy stood. What is it? She whispered. We can't stay here, Trisha whispered. We have to warn the king and queen. Lexi and Willie could be here any minute. I know, but this is too cool. Sophia rolled her eyes. For once, could you stop being cheerful? They're in danger. But the guard didn't believe us. He thinks we're wrong. We know we're right, Trisha whispered. Sophia nodded reluctantly. We're not trained, Macy pointed out. They still need help, though, Sophia whispered hotly. Who's there? Miss Clay called. They turned to her. She felt another warm touch on her arm. A new ghost? Who is it? How did they find this house? The warm touch stayed. Train accidents? The adventurers gasped. The train to Ando? Amari thought aloud. Miss Clay nodded slowly. Someone did die. That's horrible. They say 2 men followed you, and now they're here in Galino. The men intend to trip and fall? She didn't understand the message. No! They cried in fear. Miss Clay widened her eyes at them as the 4 friends ran out of her house. Follow them, dears. Make sure they don't get hurt, she said to some of her ghost friends. A flick on her right ear made her sigh of relief. What should have taken them 20 minutes was cut in half. The adventurers could run pretty fast. They came back to the city hall. King Nasir and Queen Kiera still stood there, but not the same area as before. There they saw Lexi. He ran beside the king and queen and suddenly tripped on his own feet. The royal couple saw him and hurried to him. Sophia and Macy gasped, understanding the message fully. It was a trick. Quick, Macy, zoom for Willie, Trisha rushed. I got Lexi. She pulled out her slingshot and a marble as Macy wielded her sword. If you 2 see Willie before her, use your weapons. Amari and Sophia nodded, prepping fans and whips. Macy zoomed in and around the city hall for his partner. Trisha spun her slingshot as fast as she could for 5 seconds while she aimed. The marble flew from her to the temple of Lexi. He cried before gripping his forehead. I can't see. What's happening? He said shakily. Amari followed Trisha when she went after Lexi, who stumbled into the queen. Are you all right, young man? Queen Kiera said. He shook his head. No, I can't see. I think I'm blind. His voice still shaking. His head moved everywhere, trying to listen what he could. You are, Trisha said. Lexi recognized her voice. He grunted. Where is he, Lexi? I'm not telling, he grumbled. Sophia! Macy yelled as she zoomed after Willie. The Queen and King spun around when they heard her. Willie had seen what Trisha did. When he realized their plan was busted, he ran. Sophia saw him running. She fanned out one of her whips. The whip lightly snapped and touched his arm. He couldn't cry out even if he wanted to. Willie passed out instantly. Willie! Lexi cried after hearing him slump to the ground. He tried to rush to him, but Lexi couldn't figure out where he was heading. Amari, hurry! Trisha whispered hotly. Amari nodded and spread out her fans. She swung one after another toward him. The fan spun and whipped air at him. Its trance affected him in an instant. His speed slowed down. He stood still and cocked his head to the side. The royal guards were seconds too late. They saw one man sprawled on the concrete ground, and the other tranced in place. One of the royal guards saw Trisha and Amari. As he walked up to them, he grunted. I told you the guards and musketeers would handle it. What a job you did, Trisha said hotly. A flaw was put on your guards, sir. Those are the two men we told you about. Riley, what are they talking about? King Nasir asked sternly. The royal guard groaned, turning to them. Riley? Macy and Sophia dragged Willie behind them in the cart Macy conjured. These 4 women requested to speak with you earlier. Said there was a plot against you. The Queen glared at him. I should have told you, but you had something else going on. Riley, you are supposed to be telling us of every warning and threat given to you. He nodded solemnly. How did you know they were already here? King Nasir asked the 4 adventurers. Amari stepped forward and curtsied. Your Majesty, I bumped into a friend of mine earlier. She has a way of communicating with ghosts. A ghost had followed us from Ando and ended up following the 2 men as well. She felt what seemed like a fly fluttering in her right ear, signaling she was correct. Amari didn't know, though. Miss Clay didn't tell her what it meant. We were on a train to Ando when it almost derailed. Your Majesty, Trisha continued, before she too curtsied to them. We overheard the men. They did it on purpose so we wouldn't be able to stop them. At that moment, the trance on Lexi ended, as well as his temporary blindness. Sophia saw it and tapped on Macy's shoulder. She turned to see him running. Macy dropped her sword. As she ran, she jumped up and spun while kicking his back. What her sensei would call a jumping, spinning roundhouse kick. Everyone watched her, and then him falling to the ground. Conscious, though. Macy forced him to get up. Muttering under her breath, she was able to drop him on his partner. Man, Lexi weighs a ton. Sophia giggled nervously. Where did you learn that, young lady? Queen Kiera asked. Oh, I've been studying jujitsu ever since my parents died 6 years ago, Your Majesty, she said, bowing to her. I am a bit stunned on how well you women fought them, King Nasir said. What weapons did you use? Our Enchantress and Muir of the Vanili province cast magic on our weapons, Your Majesty, Sophia responded. She curtsied as well. The king and queen raised their brows in interest and curiosity. My weapons are these satin whips, and they can knock out a person by a light flash from it. I use my fans, Amari said, and they can put people in trances. Though the Enchantress gave me a bow and arrows, Trisha started. She casts my magic on my marbles, which I use with a slingshot. One hit from a marble can give the person temporary blindness. I never use a weapon. I don't need one for jiu-jitsu, you see, Macy said. But the Enchantress gave me a sword, and whenever I wield it, it gives me super speed. How very interesting, Queen Kiera commented. She thought before speaking again. Did she give either of you a mission? The four nodded simultaneously. What is it? The king and queen saw them blush. It was to travel to Verol, Macy said nervously, so we could be trained to be Musketeers. I see, King Nasir spoke. The royal couple exchanged glances. Perhaps, the queen said slowly, you should continue your travels to Verol. Yes, work on your training. The royal couple smiled at the four friends. We shall see you again soon. Amari, Sophia, Macy, and Trisha had wide, excited eyes as they watched the king and queen walk away. They turned to each other and squealed. While the four friends talked excitedly, the king and queen told their royal guards to arrest Lexi and Willie. After Macy turned the carts back into a keychain, they all headed to Miss Clay's house. The adventurers journeyed to Verol one last time. Uneventful, thankfully. It disappointed them, though, after all the excitement they've had. Sophia happened to have a friend in Verol. She checked to see if he had any available rooms for them to stay. When he learned she was in town, Brendan became excited. Though he didn't have much space, he accepted her and her friends in his home. A month passed, which increased their knowledge and training for the musketeer career. The month passing worried them, though. The four friends did not hear a word from the king and queen. It made them wonder if the royal couple forgot. They never did. In fact, King Nasir and Queen Kiera requested a weekly progress on the four friends. They discovered Trisha, Amari, Macy, and Sophia learned quickly and advanced in many ways. It helped them to make a decision. When that month had passed and the queen and king made a decision, they waited a few days more before summoning the four friends. Macy, Trisha, Sophia, and Amari dressed in their best dresses, and in their favorite colors. They still carried their weapons on their persons. The four friends approached King Nasir and Queen Kiera in the throne room of their castle. People of Rekavla's capital and their friends' families stood in rows, facing their king and queen for a public event. Someone gave the royal couple a staff. The queen held it. The head of the Musketeers carried 4 night blue tunics over one arm. The king smiled at the four friends. Trisha, Macy, Amari, and Sophia sighed excitedly as they stood from curtsying. Macy Giardina, you not only fought well, you showed what dedication means. Your place is with the Musketeers. The queen smiled while she let the staff touch Macy's shoulders. The musketeer clipped a tunic around her neck. Amari Niven, you displayed grace while defending me and my queen. You proved that as a dancer you can still fight. Your place is also with the Musketeers. Queen Kiera used the staff again while the musketeer clipped a tunic around Amari's neck. Trisha Payne, you thought quick on your feet as you protected us. Your place is with the Musketeers. Again, the queen used the staff as the head of Musketeers put a tunic on Trisha. Sophia Vise, you stood beautifully and with confidence while defending your country. Your place is with the Musketeers as well. The queen smiled, using the staff one last time, while the head of the Musketeers placed the tunic around Sophia's shoulders, clipping it in front of her neck. Congratulations, young ladies, King Nasir said proudly. You are now Musketeers. Their families and the people cheered and applauded. The four friends grinned and jumped to high-five each other. "Thank you, your majesties," they chorused. As they turned around, green dust sparkled. The dresses quickly shortened on them. Sophia, Amari, Trisha, and Macy put their hands in the middle. "All for one, and one for all." The end. Oh my gosh. I love this book. Alright, I have to admit, that was a little bit corny of an ending, but it works. And I do believe the next book to read is the sequel to Aquatica. Woohoo! And that book is called The Rap Prophecy. I would bring up a description of it right now, but actually, wait. Alright, I've looked over it and I forgot that I need to put more description in. I need to put more details in the description for The Rap Prophecy. So I'm going to work on that a little more. But I'm going to go ahead and read to you what I have now for the story description of The Rap Prophecy. Have you wondered what happened after Garnet let an engaged couple learn her secrets? Read The Rap Prophecy and see how she lives on land during the day, avoiding water at all public costs, and lives underwater at night. Imagine her surprise when there is more to her mermaid life. Yeah, there needs more detail. I am super excited. The next book is The Rap Prophecy, the sequel in the quartet. I think it's called Quartet. I can't remember. There's 4 books in the set, which I call The Ventures of a Mermaid. Cool, huh? Might have to rename that, actually. Not sure. Would you guys buy books under that set name? The Ventures of a Mermaid? Yeah, no, I think I might need to retitle that. Who knows? And I do have a cover art for that. If I can't find a better wig, I should say. Who knows? But I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. I am the Esperanza 243, signing out.